Welcome back to PJ Chen Design. This is PJ. In this Zbrush Core Mini model, turning the Rhino 3D model video, I would like to talk about the second part. Once you've done the design in the Zbrush Core Mini and how do you turn it into the Rhino and set the stone. Are you ready? Let's get started. So before we getting into it, we don't know the size of this. So ideally, I would like to beef up everything if possible, just in case you're getting into the Rhino, they're getting too thin. This is an additional tool that we use in the Rhino, and it's quite simple. If you don't know how to use this basic tool, please check out my last video. So let's starting from the scratch. When you're starting the ZBrush Mini, it always give you a sphere, and when you start drawing, and then whatever that you draw, you always have two. It look like it's a mirror image because the one on the top is symmetry is on. All right, so if you don't like that, like in our case, we don't need that, so I'm just going to cancel it. All right, then when you draw right here, you can move it or you can scale big and small, and I want them to go smaller here. You have a lot of a tool, the chisel that you can use. I highly recommend that you kind of try it and see which one work better for you. Sometimes when you have a horn coming up, watch out, this is the bottom piece like this. You definitely don't want to get too extreme. So you want to getting into the point that it's not coming out too weird things there. I usually like to do is I like to use this tool. It's like a snake hook tool, and that allow me to grow something like spontaneous is like this, right? And then I want to get the simple shape first, so I will have like one is this and one is this, and then after that you can kind of moving them and see if you want them to be longer, to be different shape, like this need to be caving a little bit or something like that. I still have this big bump there, so I'm going to increasing my size overall, and it's just kind of push it back so it's not too bumpy there, so I kind of push it back. And the things that we are going to model today is more like an organic foam, so feel like it's feel free to kind of explore it your own to be any shape that you like. All right, so I'm going to make an antler or like a wood branch type of things, and I'm going to, to kind of getting a basic foam too. From here. Now if you feel like this is pinching too much, you can always use the polish tool and kind of smooth it out, just kind of flatten it if that works for you. All right, then I'm going to continue to building my shape. So again, I'm going to using the move tool, and I want to move the bottom one is kind of coming out here, coming out there. And if at some point you're going to feel like it's getting too pointed, right, so you don't have much of a material to move, for example, I'm going to moving out like this, you can see the model stretch a lot, and which I don't like it. So I'm gonna go back and I can just kind of build it up some extra. It felt like you are really play with the clay, right? So I'm going to build up some extra right there, and then they will get a little bit rough. That's okay, because we can always smooth it out, right? Once you have it, you can use the move tool and then just start grabbing them down, something like that. You can grab it all of them at once, like something like this. And then again, you're gonna see them stretching, that's okay. You can edit up more material if you want to, all right? Or you can use this snake hook, my favorite one, and we can continue to grow it. Something like that. And of course I want to get it smaller, and then you can kind of move it around. And I was also wanted to get another piece coming out this way, so I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller and kind of a growing maybe from here. Kind of beef up a little bit, rotate it, kind of moving out a little bit or things like that, right? And again, if you feel like this is too pointed, it's not what you want, you can always go back, right? Control Z will help you to go back, and I want to make sure that my size is big enough when I I'm doing that coming out, whoops, from there. And then you can see that, oh, I'm kind of missing something because I push it too much. That's okay. You can always adding material back. And then it's kind of continue to push something like this, right? And again, I can use the move tool to make them a bit lower. I always like to use a bigger brush because I don't like that little pinch here and there, right? For something look like this, right? And once you're done the shape that you like, I want to kind of add it up a little bit on the bottom because I want to have an earring hook there, and on the back side kind of adding up some material right there. I don't like this cave over there. Oops, I don't like the cave over there. Alright, so let's say this is the antler that I like. Not really, but I don't want this video like getting too long. Alright, and then you can kind of smooth it out, the texture, by using the polish. Kind of smooth it out. And then you don't want to smooth it out way too much, right? And again, you can come back with all this like chisel, or maybe you want to scale in there, or maybe you want other things. You have a lot of different tools that you can play with, right? It's a little bit limitation on the brush you can use here, but I mean for us it might be okay. Maybe you want to have like full of this type of, you know, the texture if you want. Oops, getting too crazy, right? So don't get too crazy. So you can have this type of a texture that you want, or you can come back just using a standard and then using a smaller draw size, and you kind of draw on it, right? I'm going to turn it in this color so it might see better. I wanted to get it intensive is high, my draw size is small, so you can start seeing I have this type of like more of this type of a texture on it, right? And then that look more like an antler, like I'm just adding one by one, right? Now you kind of see it is really helpful if you have the tablet, and then you can design some sort of a texture like this. And you want to do the back side as well. And you're gonna turn it around to do something like this, right? And then they feel like it's bumpy, but I think this is what Rhino cannot do, is this type of a texture, right? And you can always smooth it out if you feel like, oh, you're doing way too much. Just come back, like polish, and I want to use a lower intensity so I don't smooth out all my beautiful work, and it's just kind of roughly, like really quickly to go over on the top. As you can see, it's not as crazy, right? So we kind of flatten it out. Something look like this. All right, so if you like it, you feel like, oh, first of all, always save it. We want to save this file into the ZBrush file, so later on we can, you know, want to use it, we can call it out. Then you can use this one, export for 3D print, and we're gonna say here 3D print, and we're gonna save it so we can open into the Rhino. So let's come to the Rhino program. Once we get into the Rhino, we want to come into the file and then we want to import. So when you import it, we're going to pick up the file that we have there and click OK on the default. You're going to see this big mesh right there. And if you see the render view, you're going to see this is what we created into the ZBrush. So I'm going to first of all make them a lot more smaller by 3D scale it down. And then to also wanted to rotate it with the correct angle that I'm going to have, and then bring them on my top view, bring them into the center on my construction plane, right? And basically I need to roughly know what this size is. Let me bring it back here, and then I'm going to measure it from roughly here and here to know this is the size. Now 84 is quite big here, so I might need to scale even more smaller, and this is gonna for the earring, so roughly something like this. All right, so first of all we will need to add in some sort of the and let me rotate it correctly as well. So first of all, I will need to creating some sort of the top here. I do not want to top this like an unfinished. So basically just adding a cylinder roughly about this size and about this high, and then just want to adding a cap there on the top and make it smaller or things like that. Oh, by the way, besides adding the piece to our object here, if you want to edit this object, you actually could do it in the Rhino 7. Let me show you how. This is, you can see this is a mesh piece, and then you are not able to edit it in the Rhino. But if you have a Rhino 7 under the sub D, you have a tool, it's called Quad Remesh, and that allow you to creating the object back to the sub D. So for example, on this target quad count is going to be 2000, and let's preview and see what happened here. All right, as you can see, I have a lot of a grid there, and this is will be remesh into more organized shape of the mesh. As you can see, a lot of the rectangle here. However, I mean, this is still a lot of the piece to edit it into. If you do want to edit, we can also convert it to the sub D, so it's more editable. If you feel like this is still too many, you can kind of reduce the count. Let's say we're gonna cutting in half for 1000 over there, and really quickly you can find out this piece is reduced a lot of the grid over there, and then it will be easier to edit. If I convert it to the sub D, is check, and then I click OK, and then you're going to see an extra piece coming out here. Unfortunately, you will lose all the detail and the texture, but you will keep in the shape, and this is the way that you can continue to edit it. For example, you do want to have pick up the faces for maybe from here to here all the way, and then you want them to come out a little bit more. You can continue to edit it if you want to, if you turn it into the sub D. Okay, so we are not gonna talk about that part. In fact, I like it with the texture, and that's why we are using ZBrush. Okay, so now I have this one. I'm going to have continue to edit, and in fact I'm just going to lock this one so we don't accidentally to click it. All right, so we'll just clicking right here, and it's kind of moving around. Make sure it's cover the entire piece, something like this, maybe a little bit more. We can fit the edges on this one for something small like a 0.5 over here, and the rest of it will be the stone setting. And if you wanted to download the stone, please see the description below. I simply wanted to creating some prong set, so let's do a tube for a piece under the stone, and that way the stone will sit on it, and for something over the cullet right here. And we also wanted to creating the prong, and again this is the prong for jeweler to set, so I need it a little bit taller, and then we simply just going to pipe it into this size, for example. And after that I just need to actually a little bit shorter and actually move it out a little bit. You do not want it to cut it too much, have the stone cut it too much into the prong. Once you have the prong that you like, let's go ahead to polar array, and you can polar array in any number. I simply just going to polar array for 4, and I got something like that. So this is a completely set. Let's take a look on the perspective. If you like that, and let's go ahead to moving this to other layer, and I simply just going to group them. All right, and now we can decide where we want to place the stone. Maybe I wanted to have one over here and to moving close to here. Right now I realize this piece is still pretty big, but you get what I mean about the sizing, and I'm just going to leave that to you. So this is the where you're going to fine-tune a little bit. Not all of them is going to face front, but I will suggest you to do one on the side, and you can keep rotating on any place that you want. So I may want to have one over here, and one over here, and one over here, and I can do some adjustment. Maybe I want to have some bigger, but keep in mind, all the jewelry design, you already have a stone in mind. You cannot just like me, hey, I want to make the stone bigger because my piece is too big. No way. I mean, you have to work on whatever that you have for the stone. And once you have that, let's come over to the perspective, and we kind of need to work like maybe tilt the stone in the angle, for example, like this one, put it down, and also tuck it back to where that is. And if it is buried in there, we just kind of need to move it out. And then again, this piece again, I'm going to tuck it more like this way, and might need to moving out a little bit like that. So you kind of need to fine tune for your stone and make sure they are 100% touching the main piece. Otherwise, when you are doing the casting, they are just not gonna coming out, right? So this is where that you're going to fine tune. And on the top, we can put the earring. Alright, this concluding this series of a two-part video talking about using the Zbrush Core Mini to creating the centerpiece and bringing to the Rhino for stone setting. I hope you enjoy it. I have a lot more trick and tips to share with you on my membership program. So join the membership, support me as a small YouTuber, so that way I can create more video for everybody. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next.